Hi, this is William. Welcome to FlySpoke. And in the vise I have a fly that I call the rubber band Pupa. And it's really simple to tie. Actually uses a thin rubber band to build the body and creates those beautiful segments. And I'm going to show you how to tie this fly right now. So in the vise what I have is a basic curved Caddis style hook, 2457 style hook, and it's a size 14, and I'm going to take some, this is some sheer, what they call 12/0, which is actually 70 denier thread, and I'm simply going to put a little bit on in the front here, and I've taken just a regular standard rubber band, cut it, and what I've done is I've trimmed the end down so that it's to a point at the end. And what's important is that I catch this in right in the middle of the hook here. I don't want to go all the way to the back to put it in because it will create a high spot bump. So right here I make sure I've got that in nice and tight, and then I'm going to pull on the rubber band to stretch it out as I go back and pull down and go to the opposite side, and make sure what you're trying to do is run this along the bottom of the hook, keep the rubber band, and you're keeping it stretched very, very thin all the way to the back. Now the rubber band is what's going to give us our body shape, so I'll just advance my thread up to this area right here, and I'm pulling on the rubber band for my first wrap. What I'm going to do is with each wrap I'm going to ever so slightly decrease the tension I'm pulling on the rubber band, and what that will do is that will simply make the segments seem like they're getting slightly larger as I move up, and it will also give a shape to the body, getting a little bit thicker, so that when I get up to here, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do these last few a little bit lighter. I want them to be ever so thicker right here. Then when you get to there and it's got a really good shape, pull it again tight here for the last wrap. Now you're going to leave a bunch of space at the front of this hook. Okay, so there's my rubber band portion of the fly. Just trim the rubber band. Okay. Make sure you put a reasonable number of wraps right over the front of that, because the rubber band can have a tendency to pull itself clear of the thread. So basically that's it. And then the next thing, first thing, I'm going to take a Sharpie. It's a Sharpie fine point, and it's in a very bright green Caddis color, and I'm going to paint with the Sharpie the entire rubber band where it's showing. Bright Caddis green. This isn't. Alright, that'll dry pretty quickly. Okay, then the next thing, I'm going to take a little darker green color, and just the back, leave the belly the bright green, and I'm going to paint just the very back of the fly a little darker. Alright, and then I'm going to take a black Sharpie, and I'm going to run a line just down the top, a very thin line just down the top, right like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a gadwall flank, Gadwall flank feather, and that's the color they call it. Nature's Spirit calls it hooded merganser brown. And I'm just going to be taking off, 10 maybe, 10 barbules for one side. I'll put some gills on this side. Trim. And I'll grab another pinch of about 10 barbules. And we'll run them right on the opposite side. I don't want them to be like a little paintbrush there. I think they're a little too even sometimes. Just splay them out a little bit and makes for a little better look. Alright, clean up. Come right there to the back. Even crunch them down a little bit. Alright. And then the very last thing, take the top of a peacock feather and very close up to the eye, take off a piece of herl so that the barbules on this feather, these are the barbucelles, I should say, on this particular piece are fine. You want them to be short. And we're just going to tie that in as a head. The iridescence and the green look of it as a head, really pretty. And I'll just tie that off. Okay. And I'm just going to take a little bit of head cement. And I'll just put a little bit on the thread itself. Tie my whip finish. Pull the whip finish will pull that head cement right there and around. There it is, done. It's a rubber band pupa. There it is.